Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, for this Nintendo News Daily. Of course, we're going to be looking at a handful of headlines and then maybe a possible leak of Doom: The Dark Ages coming to Switch 2. So we're going to dig into that for our main topic. As always, these streams and shows are powered by Elgato, n64josh.com/Elgato if you want to check out their current Black Friday sales. And there's some amazing products, you guys. So I highly recommend it. I want to say what's up to uh, Byzantinium. What's going on? I don't know if I'll ever get your name correct. Cryptic is here, of course, saying first. Um, and then there's chat's just going wild right now. Guys, we shoot for 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I was just trying to get everything put together for the show this morning, so that's why I'm running a little bit late. But 9:30 a.m. Eastern for the morning news shows. That's pretty much daily. I'll probably take tomorrow off for the holiday and watch the parade and whatnot. Maybe just get some gaming in. But we'll be back Friday for our regularly scheduled programming and just taking a look at what's happening in the world of Nintendo. Let's jump into the news, shall we? First up, Hollow Knight Silksong's latest update is here. And we got patch notes via Nintendo Life. So let me get that opened up here and we can take a quick look. And Cryptic said, nope, tonight, NPC. That's right. Yeah, I think. I haven't heard from everybody yet, so we'll wait and see. But I think that's the plan. I think that is the plan. Regularly scheduled NPC tonight instead of Thursday. So, taking a look here at the update for Silksong, it says after launching on PC earlier this month, Team Cherry has today confirmed that the fourth Hollow Knight Silksong patch is now live on all platforms, bumping things up to the catchily titled version 1.0.28891. That's so crazy. The big addition is in this one is the implementation of a new simplified Chinese translation by Team Cart Fix, but there's been general bug fixes applied too. And then we got full patch notes below, and I'm just kind of like going over them quickly, and it looks like there's quite a few different bugs, like fixed rune rage damage scaling incorrectly, fixed beast crest fury slashes not piercing as intended, the outpost trap throw attack updated from single lob to spin style to reduce the time spent, static, other slight refinements. So there's a number of bugs like this that they are continuing to squash, which is great to see continued support for this game and getting it running as smoothly as possible. It is one I definitely want to jump back into because I did enjoy my time with it. Just a busy time of year, So there's going to be quite a bit of like kind of some NSO and just Switch news to talk about as well, like kind of some hardware stuff as well as some new software drops. But before we do, we're going to continue on with Beyond Good and Evil 2 job listing shows there's signs of life in the old hog yet 17 years later. From Nintendo Life here, says when we first caught wind of Beyond Good and Evil 2 back in May of 2008, we have to say even then we wondered if the stellar original wasn't already getting a little old in the tooth to command a sequel. It's never too late, of course, but would the interest be there? That was just 5 years ago after Beyond Good and Evil first launched on. That was just 5 years after Beyond Good and Evil first launched on GameCube, and unbelievably, following that initial announcement, the sequel then disappeared until 2017, and it showed up at E3 rocking a fancy pants trailer. Of course, I've heard nothing but good about it since then. Really with a troubled development that's seen a new creative director replace OG Michael Ansel, amongst other issues. But as reported by our pals over at Eurogamer, it seems there's actually still life in the old hog yet. And so, taking a look at just the little blurb here, it says Beyond Good and Evil 2 is an action adventure open world game set in a captivating soap opera universe and the direct prequel to the 2003 cult classic, based on a breakthrough technology driven by the proprietary Voyager engine. Beyond Good and Evil 2 aims to offer a seamless experience of exploration and space piracy across a solar system full of exotic locations, colorful characters, and mysteries to uncover, solo or with friends. So if you are ready for an adventure like no other, come join forces with us to build System 3. I mean, do you guys remember when this trailer came out? Like, I remember specifically, like where like v- where I was at work while I had this trailer running, literally stopped what I was doing to look, because like this is one of those games that, like, I hear people talk about a lot. I think it's very well loved, and there was a lot of hype about this. And then here we are. We still just wait. It is so strange. It's so strange. And I mean, this, like, we're even seeing this on with Sony's new game that's coming out. The one that kind of, I don't know, it was given some Guardians of the Galaxy vibes. I don't have the name in front of me, but, like, I'm seeing people talk about just like how game development's taking so long, that game that was announced, what, a year, maybe 2, is still another 2 years out. Now, I mean, somebody might reference Metroid and be like, "Well, that was announced in the 8 yeah, but they did cancel that game. It's not like it was, they completely scrapped it after announcing it," which that makes perfect sense. Some of these just seem to sit in development limbo for an incredibly long time. And, I get it. Like, it's a big, like, especially some of these Sony titles, an incredible experience, but they're so far apart, and we're experiencing it on the Nintendo side of things too. Like, it's been a minute for a 3D Mario, and so it's it I wonder what's happening here. I wonder when it's going to see the light of day, and this was apparently announced for the Switch, which is why we are talking about it. But I can't imagine at this point they would still put it there. It would probably move directly to Switch too. So uh, it's it's honestly wild. And yeah, seeing just even a screenshot of that trailer, I remember it vividly, and just going, this looks big, this looks good, but now it's just a matter of when. When is it coming out? So, well, I think we mentioned it a little bit last night, but Nintendo expands NSO's library with two incredible Nintendo games, and also what looked to be pretty stellar Game Boy games. Now, I don't have any hands-on experience with Kid Icarus or Bionic Commando handheld. Some of the comments I've been seeing on my videos are like, I didn't even know Bionic Commando was on Game Boy, which I love when that ends up happening, and we get introduced to something that we didn't even know was there. I think that's pretty rad, and it's great that we get to see these games uh, available for us to check out for the first time. Now, we mentioned Battletoads earlier this week or late last week, about, as we were talking about games that were missing from NSO, and here it is. And then we've also got Ninja Gaiden 2, which, again, if you want a challenge, go and play Battletoads and Ninja Gaiden. They will challenge you. They will definitely challenge you. In fact, if you can get past World 3, let me know. Okay, if you can get past level 3 in Battletoads, I will be very, very impressed. So, and I'm going to attempt it myself as well, because I played this game a lot as a kid, and I did get pretty decent at it. I don't know that I beat it, but we would make decent progress in it, because it was one of those ones that we would rent all the time, but I never picked up. And it obviously was following the success of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? And I did feel like they really, really did a great job just leaning into that, and catering to that audience. Because I mean, I was a huge Ninja Turtles fan, and then playing as Battletoads, just it felt like it was part of the lore almost. Like I loved it, and it was such a great beat 'em up, and it had certain things in it that you didn't. I remember, like, I don't know if it was like picking up like a melee weapon, and then like it would break, or just certain things that you didn't expect, details that you didn't expect in games. Battletoads had those. Battletoads had those kind of details, and I I'm excited to play it again, because it is quite fun, even though it is really hard. It is really hard. So I see Steak is here. What's going on? Game Center says Battletoads will be fun to play again. Let's go. Let's go. Cryptic says Nintendo teases us with these rare games, but not the one we want. I'm going to the headquarters to cause a scene. What's the one we want? Diddy Kong? Donkey Kong? Diddy Kong Racing? Donkey Kong 64? I feel like the ones we want: GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Killer Instinct. What are we missing? Joey says we get every rare game that isn't Diddy Kong Racing. That's the one that we are missing, is Diddy Kong Racing. I totally get it. But yeah, just really really stoked to see these titles make their way to NSO. And it's nice when we see these drops come in, and they're games that are really worth playing. Sometimes that it doesn't always feel like the case. Sometimes it also is like, why are we getting these obscure titles when there's still some like really good first party or third party games, since that seems to be they're able to get both at this point. Why why are we getting these really obscure titles, and not some of those? This drop feels like very much the kind of drop I want to see more often. Like, it is fantastic in my mind. So this is a PSA from Nintendo Life. It says you can now remap Nintendo classics, NES, and Game Boy controls. So Nintendo has today released a new update for its Game Boy and NES app on the Switch and Switch 2. Not only does it bump up the Game Boy app to version 3.0, it also sees the NES app jump to 8.0. With this comes a significant change. As many players have noted, the app has officially rebadged with the Nintendo Classic branding, throwing the old throwing the old N Switch, or Switch Online tag out the window. There there These were the last two retro Nintendo apps that had not been updated since the launch of Switch 2, excluding Sega's Mega Drive Genesis library. As part of this rebrand, and like the updates for the other retro apps, players have spotted some subtle changes and improvements. Perhaps the most notable is the fact that both apps now allow users to map buttons via the overlay menu when in game. So that's kind of cool. If and I know for me personally, when it comes to playing games, like let's take Mario 3 as an example. I typically want to like sprint with Y and jump with B. It just feels like the natural place for my thumb, but for some of these games, it's sprint with B, jump with A. That's the classic controls right there. So yes, Cryptic makes a good point. So are we just going to be switching A and B? Well, yeah, if you're playing with the NES controller, for sure, you're going to be just switching those, no doubt. So um, Joey says no DK64, which I'm shocked, since I'm earning Chunky Kong and Lanky Kong in the Donkey Kong Bonanza event. Yeah, crazy that we haven't seen that one yet. Steak says, same reason Pokemon doesn't give mainline to NSO. Why would we give people everything they want? Right, Steak, exactly. Let's see. It looks like Davis is here, says, what's up, buddy? How you doing today? Like your video. Keep up the good work. I know your friend Nintendo Prime. Oh, that's awesome. Very, very cool. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. And Joey says, oh, and the Game Boy, now if you hold the analog stick to the left, it does the classic Game Boy intro screen. Yes, that's the next thing I have here. So Nintendo Switch Online Game Boy app has been updated to version 3.0 and adds the boot screen Easter egg. So like Joey said, if you hold the any direction on the left stick when you're starting up the Game Boy game, it will do the classic opening of when you would fire up the Game Boy. Depending on which filter you're using, will dictate which sound you're hearing and which screen you're going to see. So you can see the Game Boy Pocket, or the Game Boy Color, depending on which filter you have on. And one last thing here, it says the sound when booting up Game Boy Nintendo Classics app also has been changed from the Game Boy boot up noise to a coin block sound from Super Mario Land. So very interesting stuff there. But that's going to kind of do it for today's headlines. Not a lot going on right before the holiday, and I get it. We're literal days away from Metroid Prime 4. They are doing some interesting marketing with that, which I don't know if we mentioned last night or yesterday at all, but they are bringing on I think Nintendo is working with at least two streamers. There may be more, to stream the game prior to the launch. One of them is a channel with about almost 2 million followers, and the other one is I want to say it may be like a French channel. I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive though, and they're at about 200,000 followers. So kind of like Nintendo's doing some things a little bit different with their marketing when it comes to Metroid, which hopefully it all pans out and we get everybody buying that game. That's really what I want to see happening. So let's jump into our main topic, where we're going to be discussing Doom: The Dark Ages coming to Switch. Here we go. All right. Well, if I head on over to X here, there is a tweet from Reese Kiwi Talks Riley. It says, I look forward to playing Doom: The Dark Ages portably next year. I would love Samus Aran armor in the Switch 2 version, but Nintendo would never allow that. I would be happy just to have Isabelle sitting on Doom Guy's shoulder the whole time. Like, they seem to have quite the quite the little relationship there when the two games launched at the same time. And there's all kinds of like cartoons or different comics that people have done with Doom Guy and Isabelle. I think it's fantastic. So let's see. It says, yo, Josh, good to catch you live and on a day that I don't have much going on at work. Keep up the great content. Yo, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate you. Glad you're able to be here as well. So I'm going to kind of go through some of these some of these replies on X. OJ, Player Essence, says, are you confident they can get it running at 60 FPS? Reese says, no, I think 40 FPS personally max, but it depends on what they choose to sacrifice. Graphical fidelity or frame rate. Game development is all about choices. Every decision is always at the expense of something else, so it all depends on what they choose to prioritize. Let's see. Oh, somebody said they allow Breath of the Wild, Link in Skyrim, and Ganondorf in Diablo 3, and various Nintendo outfits in Bayonetta 2. Some of those are crazy, by the way. Some of those outfits for Bayonetta in like the Peach outfit, like it's honestly wild. It seems very, very not Nintendo, to be perfectly honest. Taking a look at a few of the other replies here. It says, "Me too, but I don't know what you're on about with the Samus armor. They allowed Mario skin pack in various Nintendo versions of Minecraft, Link's champion tunic from Breath of the Wild in the dark in his Hylian shield in the Dark Souls remastered on Switch." That one I didn't know about, honestly. So he goes on to say quite a bit. Looks like from Bloody Fatality. Wow, Samus makes a cameo in F1 race on Game Boy. Samus Zero Suit is available as a skin in a few of the Fatal Frame games across the 3DS and Wii U. So they have done some things where they've loaned out the IP. I know with Diablo on Switch, I can't remember if I played as Ganondorf or that was armor I was looking to complete. I don't remember at this point. So um, and then, of course, you've got somebody with the reminder, "Don't buy game key cards" post. You can't, you gotta have that in there all the time. And literally, somebody posted an image of all of Bayonetta, the different Nintendo character Bayonetta costumes. You've got Samus, Link, Star Fox, and Princess Peach. So and that's a lot of these comments are really focused on that. So let's talk about Doom and the history with Switch. Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal both made their ways to the first Switch. Graphically, they looked pretty soft. They weren't super sharp. They kind of had that clay fighter look going for them, but they did run pretty well. I played all the way through uh, Doom 2016 on my Switch. I started it on Xbox and then started it over and played all the way through on the Switch. And that was a game I streamed like uh, really early in the morning. For me, when I was on the West Coast, it was like I was up at 4 a.m. streaming Doom. That was how I would wake up every morning with a cup of coffee and a little bit of Doom. Nothing gets your day going quite like that. But I mean, it was great to see that level of game on the Switch. Even if it was a bit soft, it was you could still play it. It was still very playable. And so very curious on the direction they will go with this, if it will be uh, comparable to the Series S. How is it going to run compared to the Series S version? Now, I've played the Dark Ages, but I've played it on PC. I was using it as a game to start to learn mouse and keyboard again, because it had just been so long. Or I shouldn't say learn, but get used to mouse and keyboard again. And I gotta say, like, the game definitely like scratches the uh, the itches for the boomer shooter genre. Like, it does so many things that are that just make it super fun. And I love the everything going on with like the mech. The shield is pretty cool. The glory kills are back. That's one of my favorite aspects of this series. And I feel like from everything I played of the Dark Ages, they have knocked it out of the park. I haven't spent a ton of time with it. And it I w- even me, because I pay for Game Pass, so I have the game on Xbox and PC. It would have to be something pretty special, I think, for me to pick it up on Switch, only because if it's gonna probably be a key card, more than likely. I don't think there's not like a box art or anything, even though Kiwi shows it in his tweet. I think it's just a fan made thing. There's no official announcement, but it does have game key card on the even on the fake box art that he has here. And so it would be a digital purchase for me. It would have to run really well. The main reason that I would pick it up is if I had a lot of requests from the community wanting to know how it ran, and if it was worth getting on Switch too. But if I was just playing it for myself, I'm definitely playing it on my Series X or my PC. And it's on PS5 as well. So it can be played there as well. They are a fantastic series, and like I love me a good boomer shooter. There's no question there. I'm currently uh I, I'm I have been stuck at this one part in Doom Eternal for a very long time. I fire it up periodically and continue to try and do it. I refuse to lower the difficulty. I'm playing on the I think the highest difficulty you can put it on when you launch the game, and I'm having a great time with the challenge. It's just I've been stuck at this part for quite some time, and there's a lot of running and gunning that you have to do to try to survive, and it's proved to be quite challenging, but also incredibly fun. Like, no complaints here whatsoever. The one complaint I have with Doom Eternal, and thankfully it's somewhat minor, but they give two odd number achievements. So right now my achievement score is has an odd number in it, and I worked really hard to make sure it always ended in a 0 or a 5, and currently it is not doing that. And so I have to kill something like 1,000 demons in that game in order to get it to be uh, uh, an even number. And so I'm that's why I pick that up periodically, just so I can continue getting those kills. Because when it comes to my gamer score on Xbox, I don't like seeing those random odd numbers. I want to see a 0 or a 5. So that's a very minor complaint. I love the gameplay. I love the controls. I love how fast it is. It reminds me of Unreal Tournament from back in the day, which was a ton of fun. And so, even I will say this, when it came to Switch One and the Doom 2016, the multiplayer was pretty fun. I spent a fair amount of time in multiplayer because it was a Halo-esque experience, and that was a good time for me. I didn't spend a ton of time there, but it did seem like a fairly decent team deathmatch, that kind of thing, with a handful of customizations um, for your Doom guy or your Space Marine or whatever, and so that made it just a little bit more fun as well. Well, there we go. I want to take a quick peek at chat before we wrap up here. Warren says, by the way, if you guys want a general idea of Zelda in the Lord of the Rings format, check out YouTuber Ryan Link, Twilight Princess, and Lord of the Rings. Trust me, it's a banger. Okay, that's cool. Thanks for the recommendation, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So, and I'm very hopeful and very much want the Legend of Zelda movie to be as close to being on par with Lord of the Rings as possible. I would absolutely love that. So, thank you guys again, and as always, play it loud.